Kalamely Nature Reserve, to reserve, reserve, to reserve, reserve, to 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 reserve. Mountain Kalamaili Ungulate Nature Reserve. Kalamaili means black earth in Kazakh, Chinese, Kalamaili有蹄类自然保护区, also spelled Kalamely Nature Reserve, is a nature reserve in Xinjiang Autonomous Region of China, targeting in preserving the wildlife and natural vegetations in the arid steppe ecosystem. As one of the largest nature reserves in China, established in April 1982, it stretches from the Ulungur River in the north across the heart of the Dzungarian Basin and reaches to the northern extension of Tianshan Mountains in the south, covering an area of more than 14,000 km to 5,400 sq mi. In February 2019, the Kalamely Nature Reserve was listed as a state-level nature reserve in China. Wildlife. Kalamely Nature Reserve harbors many symbolic species in its arid steppe landscape. Mongolian wild ass Equus hemionus, goitered gazelle Gazella subgutturosa, Eurasian wolf Canis lupus, red fox vulpes are the common ungulate and carnivorous inhabitants. A recent survey showed there were 3,128 to 4,711 wild asses and 11,366 to 16,235 goitered gazelles living in Kalamely. Argali sheep Ovis ammon and Bactrian camel Camelus bactrianus are also reported but very rare. Przewalski's horse Equus furus Przewalskiae has been reintroduced to Kalamely by Xinjiang Forestry Department since 2001. After initial difficulties, the population is now distributed in the center of the reserve at the western part of Mt. Kalamely. The stabilized and healthy population breeds and grows in the wild each year. By the end of 2010, the population reached to 70 individuals, 5 harem groups, and 1 to 2 bachelor groups. Kalamely Nature Reserve, Xinjiang Wild Horse Breeding Center, Beijing Forestry University, the National Zoo in Washington, D.C., and Princeton University have been monitoring this population for many years and conducting a series of extensive researches on the population dynamics, behaviors, physiology, genetics, and conservation. Local community. Kazakh people have been using Kalamely as their traditional winter pasture as part of their culture. Every fall before the snow, Kazakh nomads herd their livestock, mostly sheep, camels, and horses, from the summer pastures in the alpine meadow of Altai Mountain down to the southern Kalamely, where winter is milder and snow cover is thinner. They stay in their winter tent and fence the livestock in a pen surrounded by feckle brick walls. When snow is gone, normally around late March to April, they leave Kalamely and go back to their summer pastures. Although Chinese government is conducting the nomadic pastoralist settlement project in Xinjiang by building houses, fixed pens, and other public facilities, there is still a big proportion of Kazakh herdsmen keeping this nomadic tradition.